Oh my god, everybody, we got so much going on. We've got notifications going on everywhere. We got news. Let's see what Estord's got. Police overburdened in Estord. We've been receiving reports of a lack of equipment and staff from the police forces in Estord. With the escalating violence in the city, the officers have been working 12-hour shifts to suppress the protests to no avail. The police commissioner of Estord has requested reinforcements and extra supplies of tear gas from nearby cities. Could we give you the 20 rifles that we seized last episode from the communists? Narbel. Police understaffed there too. Narbel has reported that it is currently too understaffed to deal with the ongoing political violence. Due to the small size of the police force in the city, they have been working non-stop, and a number of officers were sent to the hospital as a result of severe fatigue. The Minister of the Interior, Lilius Graf, we talked to her last time, has been working with the head of the police, Karl Grieser. Oh, he's the guy who helped us at the ball to address the issue. At least we got somebody on that one. In our homeland of Bergia, the state of Bergia, 2 reports. Well, let's start the one at Sordland. Sordland at maximum capacity. The Sordland has reached its maximum capacity. The dam! A crucial element of the city's infrastructure has been handling an enormous amount of water flow recently. Inflow even. With the reservoir at full capacity, the dam's operational efficiency is under scrutiny. Maintenance checks are being conducted to ensure this dam safety. That better not break. That'd be a natural disaster of biblical proportions if it did. So much going on. Oh wait, there was another thing there too. Illegal. I'm gonna say AK-47s. Obviously, that's what they mean. Right? The KA-74, it's like an AK-47. A cache with Rumberg made. Hey, that's the... I can't close this out without losing this report. The Rumberg is the kingdom to the northwest of us, which has been growing their military and threatening us. Or everyone, maybe. I don't know. A cache found with Rumberg-made weapons, including 47 brand new AK-47s, 2,854 bullets, 12 handguns, 27 grenades, and bomb-making equipment were found in the basement of an abandoned house in Suzerain. No suspects have been detained yet. The investigation is ongoing to determine the origins of the equipment. Okay. Young Swords. Wooth? Young Swords. Youth wing leader dead after terror attack. The local Young Swords. Youth wing leader. Suzerain. Oh, in Suzerain. That's not his name. That's where he is. His name is Ayak Torin, or was. Local Young Swords. Remember, the Young Swords are a right-wing, organization, nationalist political organization. The opposite of, what is it, the Red Youth? That is, a local Young Swords youth wing leader in Eurazin, Ayak Torin, has claimed responsibility for the organized attack in the Bludish market that resulted in the death of... They killed... Bloods, remember, are a minority in our country. They murdered ethnic minorities? Why? Just because you're assholes? His base of operations has been raided, and he was found dead inside with 2 bullet wounds to the back of the head. Clearly it was suicide, case closed. The scene was organized to make it look like a suicide. People always be shooting themselves in the back of the head. Let's not worry about it. We were not able to get information about the location of other ringleaders connected to the terrorist attack. My guy's from kind of that neck of the woods, so it's like, that's just how we play there. Dead is dead. Alright, this report from Jen... More weapons are seized. There's weapons everywhere, bro. Local police forces report that a wardrobe full of heavy military equipment has been seized in a Young Swords cultural center in Jen. Regulars of the place denied having any knowledge about the weapons. The owners of the building have been detained along with 13 other people. The police captured 22 rifles, 2 machine guns. The equipment belonged to the Swordish Armed Forces, dated 1929, but kept in very good condition. Shit. Everybody be getting weapons. Is the Civil War gonna shoot off? Let's see, what do we got in the news? I don't want to read the news. Swordish politician shot dead. We already know Bernard Circus is dead. Looking at this, about the only thing that's new is his funeral is going to be held tomorrow in his home city of Dyer. That's a Dyer thing. Unity despite differences. This is the U.S. today. USA Today papers. This is why all we want is happy news. Just happy news. Sordland has 2 paths to the future, and this year is critical to decide which path we embark upon. Amid a recession, the lack of stability and security caused by the death of Bernard Circus is an unacceptable reality. We need more jobs and a safe atmosphere if our country is supposed to grow and prosper. But how will we increase our employment and open new factories if there is blood flowing down the streets? Sordland will never reach its goals as an advanced society if we descend in a downward spiral of a splintering of our nation. Peace and prosperity now and forever. Finally, everybody listen to this paper. The Economist, the only way out of recession, bailing out of businesses. That is unfortunately a familiar thing. I'm not even reading this. That's obviously the Richie Riches are like, oh, my stocks didn't do good. You better bail me out, daddy government. Go fuck yourself. Murder was a method of the past. I hate to break it to the Lockean Times or Lockhaven Times. I finally read their name right. Murder still happens. On the plus side, they said we are calling for peaceful protests and dialogue instead of violence. Okay, another newspaper calling for unity. I like that. Oh, and Franz Richter, the politician who we said we might work with, who's in charge of the PIFJA party, the People's Freedom and Justice Party, said, we live within these borders together, and therefore we all bear a responsibility, a duty to live together with our differences. All right, another person calling for peace in these times of tension. What did the radicals say? Oh, okay, they're lamenting Bernard Circus because he was communist and they liked him. It's a sad moment. It is a sad moment for Sordland. We have lost a renowned poet who not only wrote about the struggles of the working class, but also acted on them. However, his decision to enter Swedish politics was met with a sick attack that ended his life. This was indeed intended as a message to all opposing voices in Sordland. We here at The Radical condemn this evil act of terror of the young swords. The important thing is, are they going to call for unity or violence? It is finally time for the government to realize this organization, the Young Swords, is a terrorist threat and serve justice that is due. Bernard Circus is always going to be in our hearts as a great Swordish poet. Swordish good. As a revolutionary and as a leader of the Swordish avant-garde, as a futurist, as a romantic, as a Malvaniist, that's their communist term. But beyond is a symbol of freedom of speech. He is now a man who was murdered for speaking his mind. This cannot remain as yet another political murder of the sad reality of Sordland. In fact, it is time to change this. It is time to speak up as people. The most beautiful sea hasn't been crossed yet, said the great poet. Those weren't his last words. His last words were probably, ow! Reminding us to always have hope. And we must strive to have hope and make them a reality. It is the best way to honor his memory. Bernard Circus will be laid down in Dyer tomorrow. Any citizen who wants to pay his respects is invited to attend. We should go to that. We should go. Vagsland labor unions drive further decentralized economic growth. Empowers workers. I don't know if that's going to help the economy, but good for them. Where is Vogsland? Oh, it's some republic near us. Who cares? Oh, this is geopolitical stuff. Arcasian PMC descends on Maribone amid... Oh, that's... That last one and there, Arcasian... Let's see if I can get over the map. Okay, so Arcasians is NATO. Oh man, I didn't read the rest of it. They're doing something with somebody. Problem solved. How do I move the map? Let's go. Alright, I got enough. I learned all the things I needed to learn. Let's go solve some problems. More reading? Oh no! Let's read the report of the butt-fucking friends activity in the capital. The chief of police, Carl Griesa, reports that 2 Blutish women with affiliations to the Blutish Freedom Front. This is a violent freedom organization for the Blues who want their own independent state. So 2 women have been caught in Holsword before they could execute a terror attack at a crowded rally. Both women are listed as wanted criminals and enemies of the state. The arrested women have admitted their intentions to attack the National Front Party's rally at Seoul Square. They're attacking the ultra-nationalists. When Karaso Kibner gave his speech, but rejected any connections to the BFF. Both claim they were acting alone. Police reports that the situation is under control and further investigations are underway. So Carl says they're part of the Blutish Freedom Front. They claim they're independents trying to murder the ultra-nationalist right-wing dude. I don't know if I can do both of these or if I have a choice. I better go to the security briefing. Hopefully my wife can keep my food warm for me. I arrive in the front doors leading to the Situation Room. Today's security briefing was arranged in 2 parts, starting with internal matters and moving on to external matters after a short break. The Minister of the Interior, Lilius Graf, and the Minister of Justice and Law, Nina Morgna, would join us for the first part, the law enforcement briefing. For the second part, the Minister of Defense, Iosif Lancia, would join with a few high-ranking officers, including Chief of the Armed Forces, Velkin Kruger. Have we met him before? I think we have. Or at least we've read about him before. So, yeah, I'm gonna just nod at Lucian. Alright, let's do this thing, bro. I nodded at Lucian and sat down. Everyone in the room sat down except for Lucian. He put on his glasses and went through the documents in front of him. Shortly after, he raised his head to address the attendees.
Mr. President, ladies, we will kick off today's meeting with the internal security briefing. I assume everyone has already been over the agenda. We all have busy schedules, so without further ado, I will jump into our first topic. As we feared, the political atmosphere has worsened.
Oh, the reports around the country indicate that tensions are rising, as we feared.
What is the status of the Bernard Circus investigation?
I don't know. Don't call on me. Don't call on me. I've received news this morning that the investigation into the murder of Bernard Circus is concluded. It's all done. That's great. I want to know the details. Please. After further investigation and testimonials, we have confirmed the motive and also the events leading up to the shooting. Yeah, alright, bitch. Tell me what happened. Quit jerking my cock and jerk my cock. Sir, that's not appropriate. It's 1950s. It's totally appropriate. I don't know about that. A few days prior, some members of the Red Youth initiated a violent attack on the Young Swords' local leader in Gen. We believe the Young Swords then called for revenge, leading to the death of Mr. Circus. Alright, now that all makes sense, right? So, the Young Swords did that violent attack where they murdered some innocent bloods in the market in Bergia, where Anton's from. Then there was a retaliation where the commies went and killed him and made it look like a suicide by shooting himself in the back of the head. And so the Young Swords retaliated again, most likely by killing Mr. Circus. At least that's the theory. Since he spoke often against the Young Swords and nationalist sentiments in the assembly, he was a big target, not to mention his radical communist views. I could say he had it coming then. The Red Youth are clearly to blame. We need to stop political violence. This is the most important thing. It's pragmatism, yes. Yes, we have kept it at bay for so long, but it seems now there are new triggers. Yeah, like people pulling triggers. Lilius handed over the report and pointed at the highlighted section in the document. The investigation revealed a very troubling fact. You're not going to believe it. The funding sources of the Red Youths have clear links to the United Contana. Of course they do. The USSR equivalent, or the Warsaw Pact equivalent? That doesn't surprise me one bit you would say that, Lilius. Are you positive, though? Because this is a pretty big deal. Like, they're way fucking bigger than us. And the last thing we want to do is we can't start shit with them unless we've got Ada backing us up. Like, you better be damn sure, Graf, because this isn't a, oops, I made a mistake, because if so, then Khrushchev is going to roll over us. Yes, we found the cash trail. Several Red Youth members with ties to the United Cortana have been detained, and the information extracted from them points to a preparation for a communist uprising in Sordland. That ain't good.
It isn't unusual
To be friends with anyone?
It isn't unusual for the superpowers to influence other nations, but I think this case is a little far-fetched. The left lacks popular support in Sordland.
So are you saying, Lucian, that Lilius was full of shit, or that the United Contana is barking up the wrong tree? Nia eagerly lifted her hand. I motioned for her to talk. Open your mouth hole! Oh, I went over the report in detail. It would be wrong to jump to conclusions about a clear foreign interference yet. United Contana has humanitarian and cultural ties with many countries, including Sordland. Yeah, are you backing the commies? Or is Lilius trying to get me in trouble? I can't trust any of you. Peter, murder them all! Except for Lucian. Fuck. Well, I'm not going to say I just trust Ms. Graff, whatever her name is. I don't even like her most of the time. Sometimes she's right. But we can't jump to conclusions, because this is a pretty big fuck up if we do. Last thing we need is a superpower on my butthole. I don't want to jump to conclusions, y'all. Not immediately, at least. We shouldn't create a crisis with them. Shouldn't. Not should, shouldn't. Nearly 3 decades ago, they funded General Ricard and tried to establish a communist dictatorship in our country. If it was not for Colonel Sol, we would have seen real crisis. We did see real crisis, and then Colonel Sol was the kind of dictator, though he was probably better than Ricard. I don't. That was 3 decades ago, Lilius. We have to live in the now. She took a sip from her glass of water and continued, glug, glug. Our police chief, Kyle Greaser, has linked the funding channel to the United Contana Consulate in Benfi. I don't know where Benfi is. As we all know, the enemies of Sordland are many, but we also have threats inside the country. Judging by all the reports we got last episode and this episode, most of the threats are inside the country. Our people are busy birthing, having babies. They're busy murdering each other because they don't like what the other one thinks. That's probably not a good idea. You know what? I could say we always need to remain vigilant, but I'm not fucking Batman. I need to sleep. I can say we have the power to deal with this. If a superpower comes after us, we fucked. All we can do is pray to the West. Unless the West comes after us, then we gotta pray to the East. I'm gonna be pragmatic and be like, baby, our country's always had issues. This is a part of our job. We gotta fix issues. Or at least blame someone else. That's politics, girl. Oh, if we give up essential freedoms to purchase temporary security, we deserve neither freedoms nor security. I know, I agree, Ben Franklin.
Oh, this is debatable, but yes, we know that, we know what more security and surveillance caused to this country under President Sol.
I know, he was kind of a dictator. Let us not forget that President Sol, God bless his soul, she does like an S symbol over her, brought stability after a long period of bloodshed and chaos. But moving on, this girl roots for the Emperor in Star Wars. Now, I kind of do too, because the Empire is cool, but still. Our highest internal threat comes from the estimated 20,000 strong Bluish Freedom Front, led by the imprisoned Duane Argay. They are a banned political organization, now a militant force that is trying to incite racial violence. This is where I feel mixed, right? We've got to be against any military form that is trying to tear the country apart. But at the same time, we need to realize the Bloods have been an oppressed minority, and we need to enfranchise them, because if we don't, sooner or later, it will end in violence. Are they supported, though, Lilius, by the Bludish citizens? Does the average Blood in our country want to have a civil war for them to leave? To some extent. Luckily, it couldn't attract a wide audience of Blues, so you're saying mostly no. But they could potentially attract thousands if anti-Bluish sentiment spreads in Sordland again. I agree. We want to not let that happen. Lilius pointed to page 3 in the report. 3 pages? Who can read that many pages? Impossible! Our intelligence intercepted two... Oh my god, are you drinking again, Lilius? I'm fine. My doctor prescribed it. Our intelligence intercepted 2 crates filled with weapons close to the Romberg border. They were filled with military-grade AK-47s. Like there's a fucking civilian-grade AK-47? Is there a preschool-grade one? Actually, in Russia, there might be, with the way things are going, for all the people they need for their wars. We expect that more have been smuggled in. A group of Bloods were caught with these guns at a checkpoint not far away. Did they do anything bad with them, though? the government of Bergia, or the governor of Bergia, Felix Braun, is already taking the necessary measures to counter the threat. I'm guessing he's not a major player because he doesn't have a picture. And I'm not judging the game for that, right? This game so far is fucking awesome. But I get it. You have a budget, right? You have a budget. You gotta focus on what you can. So far, I'm digging this game.
Rumberg has been acting aggressively in the region for a long time. I am not surprised that they would attempt to weaponize the Blutish people against us.
Once again, that's the country to the north. That is a kingdom that's a threat, or at least they like to rattle their saber.
This is worrying. Very worrying, sir.
Okay, Lucian, you worry about that. I got other shit to worry about. Let's see, we could ask if there are any direct correlations between the Blutish Freedom Front and Rumberg. We could be like, this is too far. We want to slow walk this. We could say we need to be level-headed with Rumberg. We do, because their military is stronger than ours. We can't let anyone meddle with our... Can we make any direct correlations between the Freedom Front and Rumberg? Can we prove that Rumberg is aiding this rebel group? Not yet, but we have suspects that indicate such a correlation. Oh, everything you got so far, girl. Everything you got is like, I heard somebody, maybe thought somebody, that maybe did something. You trying to get us at war with our neighbor who's bigger than us, and at war with a superpower. Like, come on, we've got to be smart here, man.
Oh, this is grave news, but we must not be careful, or we must be careful even, not to stoke the fires of anti-Blutish sentiment.
I said that, she said it, we all said that, Nina. Give her the program.
Unfortunately, Governor Braun is directly causing tensions to increase with his increasingly anti-Blutish stance.
Who's this guy? He's a Sordish politician who's been serving as the governor of Bergia. That's our home area since 1941. He's a member of our party, right? We're United Sordland Party, I think. Maybe we can go have a talk with him and be like, yo, numbnuts, these are a part of your populace. Back the fuck off. I must remind you, Governor Braun is directly responsible for the arrest of Delwyn Arge, the previous leader of the BFF. It's true that his methods can be extreme at times, but it was his policies that kept the region peaceful over the last decade. This is where, I don't know if the game has it coded in, because we're from that region, hopefully we have knowledge, our character does, of if this is true or if this is horseshit.
Oh, he is misusing the powers given him by Tarkin Soul. The insane authority of the governor is surely a root cause. Oh, it would be very difficult to revoke the special status of Bergia under the current circumstances, Ms. Morgna. The presidents no longer have the authority Tarkin Soul enjoyed.
Oh, great, so Bergia has a special carve-out. Tarkin Soul was a shifty motherfucker. He was not an idiot, right? Usually if people get power and they have a corrupt government, they stay in power too long. He stayed in power long enough to set himself up and then realize, ooh, this might not last. I'm going to get me a special island where I am safe and a hero.
Oh, for now, yes, but with enough justification for it, it would be possible. Anyway, we will be discussing this at a later time.
Tell me more about your special zone, girlfriend. That's actually asking more about our homeland.
Oh, as you know, Bergia was given a special status by Tarkin Soul after the full-scale uprising by the BFF against the Sordish government in 35.
So he's got, like, martial law rule where he can oppress people? Those years were disastrous for Bergia. Durin, Arge, and the BFF declared war on us. On you personally, Graf? Openly attacked our people and occupied entire cities. That's kind of what rebel groups do. They don't usually invite you for tea.
It was a massive uprising, but I'd like to point out the longest time they were in control of a city was 2 weeks. I wouldn't call that an occupation.
I think I would.
Oh, despite the arrest of Arge in 44 and the BFF ceasing its activities, the special status of the region were never revoked.
Was never revoked?
Were never revoked. Today, the special zone of Persia gives the governor an insane amount of authority. He was in trouble with the law before for not following the central government's authority.
So the real problem with Bergia isn't the people, right? It's the governor, right? And he's in our party. It's time to maybe do something about that. Unfortunately, Bergia has its own police forces directly commanded by Governor Braun. They are not part of my ministry and only cooperate when they are forced to do so. This is a problem. Wait, so you're saying there's a rebel group in an area that could be a rebel group if we try and enforce our power over it? Oh, this country's a shithole. Even though our forces have the authority to serve in Bergia, the special zone leaves the security of Bergia mostly in the hands of the governor. That leaves my hands tied. Come on, we're from Bergia. We gotta be able to do something. I could say something like, we don't want to disturb the status quo. I don't care about that. We could talk about how it's absurd they have their own special laws. I could say, well, what a good job by the governor of keeping peace. And he probably maybe did some good things. But we know the discrimination Bergia suffers is maddening. We should find another way to revoke the special status of Bergia, one way or another. We need to enfranchise the Bergians. And if we do that when nobody else has, we may have a new political power block, even if it's a minority. Oh, I will do my best, Mr. President. I expect nothing less, Nia. Nia gestured at Lilius. Hopefully it's fingering. I was gonna say fingering her. I meant flipping her off. That's two different things. I didn't. Whatever. Oh, what's the second most important threat? It's the gang violence. Oh my God, that is threatening Nargis and England regions. Isn't England up here? Isn't that all bumpkin farmland? There's a bunch of hillbillies and pickup trucks throwing gang signs and hitting each other with pitchforks. Honestly, if they really are hillbillies, they should be shooting at each other with, like, rifles and shit. The two prominent organized crime families... Wait, there's a crime family in there? This is like a... Instead of Children of the Corn, it's Crime Family of the Corn? This is corn... Sorry, Jim. This is corn country. This is... I'd say Corn Town, but it doesn't work because they're in the country. Two prominent organized crime families are at war, and the potential for bloodshed is real. Everybody be shooting everybody. Why don't we just legalize murder? We'll allow the purge, like that Star Trek episode, which inspired the films. We allow the purge once a year. Everybody gets it out of their system. Which two crime families? One is known as Coronelli. Let's see, they go back to the 1880s. They were a bootlegging family. Booze! The other is the Skinner Cartel. They got their name because they skin their enemies. Ooh, can we just have the druggies, or the boozies? Not the druggies? Oh, they sell black market arms? Yeah, let's just do the boozies. Isn't booze legal anyway? They used to be allies. They were best friends? Yup, until a recent disagreement. Both are active in the cities of Narbel and Estor. Well, that's great. You know what, Lilius? I trust you can handle them. This is why you have underlings, right? Lilius, you deal with them. You solve the problem. I am doing my best, sir. Solving your problem is the best, alright? That's your best if you've solved the problem. Lilius sighed deeply. I shall be honest with you. With our current capabilities, we may not be able to prevent the further arming of separatists while maintaining order in Bergia, Nargis, and England. If law enforcement budget isn't increased, I can't be fully responsible for what happens. Our police units are spread thin as is. That is true. That's true. We got 6 government budget. We ain't got a lot. You know what? Though, I'm not going to take this shit. You know what, Lilius? You will do your job whatever happens. Don't come to me with excuses. We need solutions. My job is to keep you fully informed, and this is the reality. My experience and expertise in keeping our country safe from violent thugs can only go so far. Oh, I wish you would stop using the word thugs, Lilius. The real problem is corruption, which is fueling the gang violence and is fairly likely the reason why these weapons were smuggled in. A higher budget could help us end that. I wanted to spend money on the military. Should I tell her to? You know what, though? Morgna, you're right? Corruption in an economy, corruption in a nation ends up just rotting away everything. Valid points. Corruption is the root of all evil, after all. There's a lot here from when Sol was in charge. We need to get rid of it and rout it out. Good point, Ms. Morgna. We can look into corruption once the weapons have been found and the gangs have been beaten. We can look into it right now, bitch. Who's the president? Oh, just like the previous administrations, kicking the can down the road. This is what's destroying our institutions. I agree with you, Morgna. Lilius and Nia were openly scowling at each other. Can't fight. Lilius turned back to her notes. Well, this concludes the topics for internal portion.
Oh, thank you for the updates, Mrs. Graff and Mrs. Morgna.
Oh, they're both married to other people. Thank you for the overview, all of you. Let's move on. Have a good day. Until next time. The two ministers left the room. We took a short break before continuing to the second part. You know what, everybody? They're going to take a break. I'm going to take a break. That's the end of this episode. Wow, this country is falling apart. Maybe I'll see you next time if I don't run away from the meeting crying. Where's the president going? Take it easy, everybody.